Pokemon GO's PvP system is about to see some major changes, and I'm really excited about this because it does seem like Niantic is finally listening to the community when it comes to the feedback around PvP. Alright, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon GO video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about the PvP system because it is essentially the one area of the game that has definitely needed a rework for the longest time, pretty much since the beginning. I mean, it's been several years since PvP has been introduced into Pokemon GO, and the system has seen some positive changes over the years, but it hasn't been enough to get widespread appeal. A lot of players are always very frustrated with some of the issues related to PvP, whether it be the lackluster battling system, where it does feel like lag and server issues could definitely affect your gameplay, and it does seem like Niantic has done very little to address that. And one of the things that I've been always saying is that what they should really consider doing is just reworking the system so that it is stable and it's something that players could actually enjoy without experiencing those frustrating moments of server issues and lag and moves not behaving the way that they're supposed to. And it looks like they're actually going to be addressing that. Recently, they posted on their official vlog that they're going to be doing a complete rework of PvP's core battle system. I don't think the gameplay itself is going to see much changes. It's really the foundation, the core system behind the gameplay that is going to get a rework. That way, whenever there's server issues or whenever there's gameplay issues that really inhibits your experience, those are going to be addressed. And I really like that because, yeah, the gameplay may not necessarily be to my liking, but I think by resolving a lot of these issues, I think more players will actually be able to get on board. So let's go over the blog post right now. Let's actually just read through it. Let's just see what they have to say. And yeah, you can look at the title, Strengthening the Foundations of Pokemon GO Trainer Battles. Trainers. From the beginning, Pokemon GO trainer battles were designed under two principles. The gameplay had to be fast-paced for the mobile landscape so that players could have short experiences while exploring the world, and battles needed to be dynamic enough to invoke a sense of skill when managing your Pokemon. Okay, the one thing I will say is that I kind of disagree with this, because PvP has always felt incredibly grindy, and the way that they have PvP battles set up, it does have a huge time sink behind it. If you want to get all 5 of your battle sets done, I think there's 6 actually in a given day, I actually don't know, but regardless, if you want to get every single one of your battle sets completed by the end of the day, it does require a lot of time. And I think that's just the nature of the gameplay. This whole turn-based system is incredibly time-consuming, and it actually can get quite cumbersome. So I think they could do a lot more work if that is their core philosophy behind PvP. But regardless, let's continue. So, given the same game state and decisions, outcomes should be driven by player choices, not game state quirks, device differences, or momentary network hiccups. So this looks like it's completely about the technical side of Pokemon GO's PvP system, which, like I said, has been a huge plague on PvP, and it has caused a lot of players to never touch PvP because of the frustrations that all of these things can create. So, as the player versus player community has grown more competitive, players have naturally pushed the system to its limits. In doing so, they may have noticed situations where battles did not always behave as consistently as expected. These moments were rare, but at higher levels of play, even small inconsistencies could have an outsized impact. Rather than continuing to address these issues one at a time, the team took a broader approach by rebuilding the core battle system. The goal was to harden the foundations of all battle modes, including PvP, so that battles consistently reflect player skill while maintaining the fast, responsive feel players expect. With a systematic change like this, players can expect to see changes. To help find a balance between addressing existing consistency issues and game feel, we've solicited feedback during development from the community, as well as various players from both the grassroots competitive scene and the official Pokemon Go Championship Series. Okay, so I do like this. Before we get into the changes themselves, they're basically saying they took feedback from everywhere, whether it be the community at large or whether it be the most competitive players or even the grassroots communities, like I'm assuming the Sylph Road and places like that. So overall, I like that, because if they were to just listen to one aspect of the PvP scene, then I think they would have missed a couple of things that other players might actually care about. So yeah, with that said, let's go over what the changes are. So, supporting skill-based battles. Battles in Pokemon Go have a very short, fixed duration turn system. This structure helps maintain a consistent battle state while delivering a smooth and responsive gameplay. Again, I will say maybe that is questionable. I think the whole turn-based system is quite cumbersome, but let's continue reading. In the past, some interactions could be influenced by when inputs arrived within those turns. Most of the time, this worked as intended, but differences in network conditions or device performance could occasionally affect how actions were resolved. The updated battle system reinforces turn-based resolution at a foundational level, better mitigating the impact of network hiccups and device performance differences. While connectivity will always play a role in online play, normal variations within turn and network tolerances should no longer change the outcome of identical decisions for a given game state. Alright, so they're essentially saying this is all about the foundation. Again, it seems like they're putting an emphasis on the technical side of Pokemon Go's PvP system. So, if you do not like the gameplay itself, kind of like me, I really do not like how PvP plays out, this is going to be a little bit disappointing. It doesn't seem like they're focused too much on actual gameplay changes. It just seems like it's purely technical, which, yeah, let's just see how that ends up turning out. Alright, so here are the major changes. First and foremost, damage resolves at the end of the turn. Previously, damage could resolve at different points within a turn, depending on network conditions. With fast attacks that take one turn, this sometimes meant one player's move was resolved slightly earlier than the other players under certain conditions. The new expected behavior with this new system. So damage resolves at the end of each turn. Energy is awarded at the same time damage is resolved. Charge attacks will now consistently resolve if used on the same turn the user is about to faint from a fast attack. Wow, interesting. So what this means for players, one turn fast attacks now reliably tie when used on the same turn. Energy gains are predictable and easier to track. Outcomes depend on decisions and timing within the turn system, not a player's local network speed or variance due to provider differences. Now, there's another change. Swaps resolve before damage. Another area players may notice changes is around swapping Pokemon to absorb an incoming attack. Previously, whether damage landed on the outgoing or incoming Pokemon could depend on timing of the swap as well as connection quality. The new expected behavior, swaps always resolve before damage. And what this means for players is that when you swap on the same turn as an opponent's fast attack completes, the incoming Pokemon will consistently take the damage. When swapping on the same turn that your opponent's charge attack starts, the incoming Pokemon will be the recipient of the charge attack. Swapping to absorb incoming damage will behave the same way across different network conditions within the same turn. Swap decisions are more reliable and easier to plan around. So essentially what they're doing is they're going to be making swapping a core part of Pokemon Go's PvP system. You're going to want to swap in order to absorb charge attacks and fast attacks, and if this system works as intended, you're not going to be rolling the dice based on network connectivity and all that sort of stuff, which I really like because that is essentially where the skill comes in, right? But it was very I guess lackluster. It didn't feel really precise. Like you kind of had to swap with like a weird timing depending on how much lag you had, different things like that. So I do like this. I really feel like this is an aspect of Pokemon Go's PvP system that is definitely going to separate the average player from the pro players. So yeah, big fan of that. Now, clear and consistent swap costs. Alright, swap timing has also been standardized. A quick swap is a voluntary swap made during normal battle flow. A forced swap happens when a Pokemon faints and a replacement must be chosen. The new expected behavior. Quick swaps will always cost 1 turn. Forced swaps do not cost a turn. Swaps during the end of a charge attack sequence will not cost a turn. So, this is a little bit confusing. What does this mean for players? Swap timing is clear and predictable. Okay. Inconsistent delays around charge attacks and swaps have been removed. Planning around swaps is more intuitive, especially in tight endgame scenarios. Input delays due to swap reliability are eliminated. So this feels a little bit more connected to this other change, but yeah, just seems like they're trying to fine-tune swapping so that it is actually utilized in a very strategic way. Charge attacks start on the next turn. Charge attack timing has been standardized so that charge attacks will always begin at the start of the following turn after being triggered. Previously, charge attacks could begin immediately, which created uneven timing windows and made some interactions more sensitive to latency or device performance. So, I think this basically means that you're going to definitely see a difference in how charge attacks will actually execute. That's kind of what I'm getting at, but let's actually see. So the new expected behavior, charge attacks will begin at the start of the next turn. Charge attack damage and effects will always resolve before fast attacks that finish during the charge attack sequence. This means that stat changes as well as effects that alter a Pokemon will occur before any incoming fast attack effects are applied. So what does this mean for players? Timing windows around charge attacks are more consistent. Fast attack sneak. Fast attack sneak. Fast attacks started at the beginning of an opponent's charge attack rely less on connection quality or device speed. Fast attacks started at the beginning of an opponent's charge attack can only occur on the exact turn a charge attack is used. Fast attack leak. Fast attacks that finish during an opponent's charge attack will consistently be applied after the charge attack is completed. This means that charge attacks that cause stat changes will be applied before the fast attack is applied. Charged attack outcomes are more consistent, barring chance-based effects such as stat changes from attacks like Night Slash. So, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit confused here. It does seem like they're saying that it's going to feel more turn-based, whereas now it just kind of feels like you're just tapping like a madman and you're just hoping to get the charge attack off before they get theirs off or their fast attacks get off. It feels very chaotic now, and it seems like this is going to be a lot more structured, which honestly I'm okay with. I think that would be pretty good with the current gameplay. Earlier swap UI during charge attacks. Oh, okay, so they're doing some UI changes. The swap flyout now appears slightly earlier as a charge attack sequence is ending. So what does this mean for players? It is easier to queue a swap as a charge attack finishes. Inputs are less likely to be missed during fast-paced moments. Visual feedback better matches when the system is ready for your next action. Battle continues if a trainer disconnects. Okay, before we get into this next change, let me just talk about this real quick. So I think for a system like this to work, for these sort of updates to actually land with the Pokemon Go player base, I really do like that they're doing some UI changes, because if you're looking at the user interface and you're not getting that feedback about these changes, then it's going to still feel chaotic. It's still going to feel very cumbersome and just very confusing. So I do like this. I do like that they're doing some UI changes. All right, so I think this is going to be a big one. Battles continue even if a trainer disconnects. Previously, battles depended heavily on continuous communication from both players, and this is probably why there were so many server issues and lag issues with PvP. If a player disconnected or stopped sending input, game state and outcomes could become unclear. Yeah, and we've seen people actually exploit this to essentially cheat Pokemon Go's PvP. This was especially noticeable in situations where both players were on the brink of a knockout and order mattered, especially for setting up energy or alignment on the incoming Pokemon. So the new expected behavior: both players must connect before a battle begins. Fair enough. Battles will continue to progress even if a client stops responding. Battles will always continue to provide visual feedback if either player stops tapping. And what is this going to mean for players? Well, battles are going to resolve cleanly if an opponent disconnects or leaves the match. Outcomes around knockouts, energy gain, and alignment are clear and consistent. Delays due to player input during a charge attack will no longer impact game pacing and flow. Situations where both players do not want to submit actions are now more clear. So, I'm very curious to see how this is going to work. It does seem like they're fixing some of these issues that players have been receiving, especially in regards to like server issues and lag. Like if a player disconnects, it kind of breaks the match, you know? So yeah, hopefully this ends up being something that will actually be a huge fix. All right, HP bar animation updates. With damage resolving at the end of turns, HP bar behavior has been updated to better communicate when damage is pending versus when it is finalized. I'm assuming there's going to be different colors for how much damage you're about to receive with how much you end up receiving. I'm guessing it's going to be something like that. In rare charge attack timing scenarios, players may briefly see pending damage before resolution. Rest assured that the HP bar animations resolve only when damage is applied. All right, interesting. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. So, what this means for competitive play, all of these changes that we just talked about, what is it going to matter for the most competitive players of PvP? Together, these updates strengthen the competitive experience, improving reliability and fairness for all trainers and leading to the following: consistent outcomes for identical game states and decisions, reduced sensitivity to latency and device performance, clearer and more reliable timing for advanced techniques. For experienced players, this means cleaner timing, more dependable swap interactions with charge attacks, and damage registering predictably, and fewer moments where outcomes feel unexpected. For all players, it means battles that more accurately reflect skillful play. So it looks like skills are actually going to matter with this new system, which, yes, if it does stabilize the technical aspect of the current gameplay, then I do think skills are definitely going to apply a lot more to your success. When you swap, when you use certain Pokemon at certain times, when you do your charge attacks, when you do your fast attacks, all of that is going to matter, and it's going to be less so an RNG-based gameplay based on server lag and latency. I think this is overall looking pretty good. All right, so looking ahead, this update focuses on reinforcing the core battle system so future updates across all battle modes can build on a stable and consistent foundation. We will continue monitoring battles as these changes roll out, adjusting as necessary. We appreciate the community's patience and continued passion for the Go Battle League. All right, so yeah, it's essentially just a lot of technical fixes, right? Like this whole new system is specifically towards fixing server issues, fixing timing issues, fixing different things that may cause players to feel frustrated because it's not behaving the way that they want it to. I mean, it certainly happens. Like I've been saying throughout this video, one of the things that makes PvP so frustrating is the inconsistency, the lag that you might be experiencing in one battle and the smoothness you might be experiencing in another battle. It just never feels like every battle is going to be the same. And I think that is something that has been a huge detriment. Of course, like I said, the gameplay is kind of where I have some issues with. I just kind of feel like the gameplay is kind of boring and not really intuitive. IMO, like yes, there's going to be more skills involved, there's going to be more techniques involved, but it just still doesn't feel that exciting to do PvP battles. Maybe that's just me, maybe it's just not meant for someone like me, but I just kind of wish there was some more, I don't know, more action, maybe more status effects, more different conditions within the battle. That's really something I could discuss in another video. But yeah, I'm really happy about these changes. I think this is going to be big for the PvP scene, and it's going to be great for Pokemon GO's PvP in general. And of course, they did mention that it's going to affect other battle systems. I'm assuming that means like Team Go Rocket battles, maybe gym battles, or other things that involve the PvP gameplay. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's essentially it. Definitely share your thoughts regarding these changes down below. Are you excited for this new PvP system? Do you feel like it's going to get players to actually jump on board? I'm really curious to know what the community is thinking, so make sure you share them in the comments below, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to this point in the video. If you enjoyed it and you want to support my channel, the best way you could do that is of course hitting that like button, and also subscribe if it's your first time here. That will definitely help me out, and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. And of course, make sure you check out the links in the description below if you want to play Pokemon Go with me. And the best way to do that is going to be by joining my Patreon, because I add all my Patreon members. So make sure you go and check it out. A link to it is in the description below. And also a link to my Etsy store, which is kind of like my side hustle. It's my thing that I've been doing outside of YouTube. And I'm creating a lot of merch for anime and K-pop. So if those are things that interest you, make sure you go and check it out. Maybe you'll find something that you will like. And yeah, you'll also be supporting me as well. All right, with all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you in the next video.